All right, looks like I'm live. All right, good evening. I'm live. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, good evening, and welcome to PTM Hangout, our daily PTM Hangout, Monday to Friday. So, just last week we made the decision to do this. We made a quick announcement that we'll be having our PTM hangouts, like daily hangouts for a few minutes every day, so that we can have short videos that we can follow, we can relate to, we can follow, and then we can watch quickly and get back to other things. So, welcome to this broadcast. My name is Maribeth Chima. I am always excited to be on your screen. I love to talk parenting. Um, I love to talk parenting. It's one of the things that I love talking about the most these days. And that is because every time I look out, I look at the society and what is going on around us, not necessarily just because I have children, but because I am a part of my community, because I'm a part of this society, and because I am very concerned about the next generation. It actually breaks my heart every time I see the things that go on around us. And it's really scary when you think about these things remaining the way they are, and our children learning from us what is going on right now, and the fear of the fact that this cycle might continue is why I come here every day, hoping that this message that I carry will touch a parent somewhere and make one parent, two, maybe 5, 10, 20, 100, and probably 1,000 parents become more intentional about their parenting. And that's what this is about. My name is Maribeth Chima. I'm always excited to be here. I'm the convener of the group Parenting Through Mentorship. Welcome. So we started talking about reasons why you should let your children teach you, or why you should allow your children teach you who they are, why you should allow them help you learn who they are from them. Very important. Who better to teach you about himself or herself than your child? I have said right from the beginning of this topic that that child you are parenting, you've never parented before, so you don't know that child. Okay, so it will only take you deciding to pause and learn who that child is for you to know that child. And the best person to learn about that child from is from the child themselves. So we've talked about different things. We've talked about their temperaments, right? We talked about their temperament. We've talked about the way they see life and all of that. And today we want to look at another area that you might have to pay attention to if you are going to know your child, in order for you to support them. In order for you to support them effectively. If you're going to support your child, there is no point. You can't support a person that you don't know. You cannot help someone when you don't know what they need. What help they need, isn't it? So what happens in a lot of cases is we have parents who parent children that they never really knew, because we just pack all our children and we put them in one box, and then we fit them into one size, and we parent all of them the same way, when in the actual sense each of these children are different. And for us to reach them effectively, or for us to help them reach their full potential, we're supposed to know who it is that we're parenting and the best way to parent that person. All right, so today we're looking at learning style. I'm sure we have all heard, by now, if you've been on the streets, if you've been attending conferences and webinars and listening to parent coaches, or reading on your own, by now you would have heard about children having different learning styles. So knowing that children have different learning styles is not the issue. So please, if you're here, if you join me, please let me know that you are with me. Let us know your name and let us know where you are joining from. All right, so just say hello. We like it when you say hello. So say hello and let us know where you're joining us from. Okay, great. So yes, we've heard that there are different learning styles. So it's not new that we are learning that children have different learning styles, right? The real challenge is how do I recognize these styles, and what do I do, right? And what do I do to help the child? isn't it? So quickly, I'm just going to run us through those learning styles because I know we know them already. So we all know by now that your child could be a visual learner, your child could be auditory as a learner, your child could be a read and write kind of learner, and your child could be a kinesthetic learner. Some people want to say, some people like verbal. We say your child could be a verbal learner too. And now when we talk about learning styles, the first thing that comes to mind a lot of the times is schoolwork. All right, when you are talking about learning style, parents just always, I mean, the first thing that parents will think about is, oh, okay, that's how they learn in school. No, your child is learning. You're your child's number one teacher. I hope you know that. You're the most important teacher and the number one teacher in the life of your child. So everything that your child is, I mean, from the point your child is born, your child is learning. So you are teaching. So every time you hear teaching or you hear learning style, don't always relate it only to school. Relate it to what is happening in your home. Because from the moment your child is born, your child is a learner. Because when your child is born, the child actually comes with no programming, tabula rasa, nothing in there. So everything that your child is going to know, everything that your child is going to do, it's because your child has learned firsthand from you. Okay, so that's because they've learned firsthand from you. So yes, you are a teacher. You are a teacher, and you're teaching your child. You're your child's first teacher. You're the first teacher that the child knows. So yes, it is important that you, the mother, the father, and the caregiver, okay, whoever it is that is the primary caregiver of that child, it is important that you know how that child is learning. It is important that you know the learning style that fits best. Now, I have just rolled out these four or five learning styles, and the thing is, the child. I mean, it's not necessary that your child will have just one learning style. In fact, in most cases, people don't have just one learning style. It could be two or three, but there's one that is usually very dominant. So you want to pay attention to how your child learns. You want to pay attention to the best way, okay, that the child learns, and you can see this right from the beginning when your children play. So that is why the place of play in parenting young children cannot be overemphasized. If your children are not playing, you're doing wrong. You are doing, outrightly, I'm saying to you, you are wrong if your toddlers are not playing. And playing doesn't mean that they're sitting down and watching TV. Okay, that's not play. Your children should go out and play outdoor. That's where a lot of discovery happens. I know it's not very safe these days. It's not this, because most times we talk to parents and we talk about the needs that our children have. The first thing that we do is we bring the perfect excuse and we back the excuses. Okay, we back why we're not doing, these things with the children with the perfect excuses. Truth is, these excuses might be valid. I mean, when we say excuses, people look at it from the negative. These reasons you are giving for why you can't allow your children play outside are valid, but it doesn't stop the fact that there is a deficiency in your child's development. There is a deficiency in your child's development, whether it is safe or it's not safe. So what do? We improvise. We look for ways. Okay, we look for ways, right, amid the safety issues that we're complaining about. We look for how we can make our children still achieve this, still achieve the desired outcome, even with all the insecurity around. So if you have to take your children to a park, okay, once in a week, by all means do it. If you have to spend 30 minutes just staying out in the compound with them because you feel safer that way, do it by all means. Okay, if you have to, but you must look for ways. You must improvise. You must look for ways to get your children outdoor and playing, because that is where you will see and you will know and you will get to watch and know how they learn. It is why children are playing, especially when they are toddlers. Okay, it is why they are playing that you can pick how best it is that your child learns, or how best it is to get your child to concentrate. Okay, so when you know this, it helps you better to support that child, and it helps the child to maximize, to reach their full potential. They're able to maximize their learning, right? And their learning is effective. Mind you, parents, the fact that our children go to school, or the fact that our children are at home and at home and we get certain things done in the house around them, or we get them to do certain things, does not mean that they are learning. Okay, it doesn't mean that they are learning. Now your child is around something, or your child does something, or your child is sitting down there, does not necessarily mean that the child is learning. Because you can have a child be in a classroom, but we know this case, isn't it? You can have a child be in a classroom the whole term, and at the end, when there is an assessment, you will find that the child did not pass. So in times, at times like that, parents begin to get angry. I mean, this school is not good and that school is not good. When the real problem is that child is probably, I mean, for the whole term, that child has probably been taught in a way that the child cannot learn. So it's very important. There is no dull child. There is no child that is dull. There is no child that is not smart. Every child has a genius in them. What they actually need is adults who are calm enough, adults who are present enough to help them identify the best way that they learn in order to bring out the genius within them. So some children will live their whole childhood. Some children will go through the first phase of their lives without really reaching their full or even halfway their potential, just because the adults in their lives were not able to help them identify the best way that they learn. So it's very important that you know how your child learns, and the best way to know how your child learns is by observation, by being present. Okay, present doing what? Why the child is sitting down engrossed in TV or on his tablet and all of that? No, you will never know that. You will end up saying that your child is visual because the child is watching TV. Hey, it is when the children play and they have all these options and you see their preferences, that's when you are able to tell that, okay, this child is like this or this child is like that. It is when you create experiences that you are involved in. That's when you're able to tell, oh, this one cannot last, when we're doing this kind of activity, or this one can last in this kind of activity. So you must be present and creating experiences. And every time I say present, I always like to add this to parents. Present does not mean you have to be there every day doing these things. If you can, then that is amazing. If you can be there every day doing these things, amazing. I mean, the children are just blessed. If you cannot, it's okay. It's not a problem. For the times that you are there, make it count. Very important. So how do you know that your child, let's start with visual. How do you know that your child is a visual learner? Okay, so your visual learner is the child that every time you give them instructions, I mean, you finish talking, I need you to do this. You find that you're going on and on and on and on with those instructions. The child is not taking those instructions. So what do you want to do? You want to look for a way, okay, try something else and see if that works. Okay, so your visual learner wants to see. Okay, your visual learner wants to see. Your visual learner gets distracted when he has to sit down and listen to you talk for too long. Your visual learner is restless, okay, when there are too many prints. The prints actually, I mean, destabilizes them. Like they just get tired of the print. It doesn't work. Okay, so they would rather see pictures, they would rather see moving pictures, they would rather see stagnant pictures and all that. So we're talking pictures, we're talking videos, okay, for your visual learner. We're talking graphs for your visual learners, right? We're talking outlining for your visual learners. So very important. We're talking colorful stuff for your visual learners. So when you find that your child is one of those that would rather, I mean, that is not listening to you a lot of the times when you talk to them, they're not listening, you're trying, you're giving them instruction, they're not taking it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to try visualizing. So you want to help the child visualize, or you want to try if that child and see if the child will understand more with visuals. So for visual learners, you want to create text cards and flashcards. Okay, so for your little child who's a visual learner and you are teaching them certain things, or you're saying to them, or every time you'll be like, okay, you need to take your plate and then take them to the kitchen and all that, and it's not working yet. So what you want to do is you want to create pictures. So you can decide to create some sort of a chart or some sort of a step-by-step pictorial representation. So the first thing, you draw the plate, then you draw whatever it is that you can draw to represent. Okay, step one, step two, step three. So step one is you're done, take the plate. Step two is maybe you want to draw a sink and then a tap, okay, just to show that, okay, you go and you wash it. Then the next one, you probably want it to have a picture, okay, you don't necessarily have to draw anyway. A picture, you can print out pictures from the internet and then cut them, okay, and then stick them like that and put them somewhere in the kitchen. Just stick them somewhere in the kitchen so the child knows that, okay, these are the steps. So that on its own allows the child to create a vision of what is in that picture in their head. So when the child, because visualizing, it's more for this child, because this child understands stuff when they're able to visualize them. You see that being able to create that picture in the head, it's why the child will probably learn that thing faster and is able to internalize that thing faster. So you want to try things like that. So for your visual learners, you want to create a lot of text cards and flashcards so that you use those pictures and all that, involve them in creating it. Okay, even at the point where they are creating their minds, okay, they're able to visualize it and then it sticks. Okay, so for your visual learners, as they grow older, okay, when they go to school, this will apply to in their school work. So you want to help them by having a lot of highlighters at home. So have a lot of highlighters, for instance. So when your child is studying, let the child highlight. Okay, let him use highlighters when he's studying and all of that. He can highlight them, in a way that he remembers. So for topics, he can decide to use like red highlighters. For subtopics, like blue, and then for a list of particular thing, he can use a particular kind of a different color. So what this is doing is it's helping the child attach those pictures to that learning. So when the child has, during tests or during assessments, when the child has a question, you find that the child is able to visualize and is able to see, oh, the red was this, okay, and then after the red, oh, the list, okay, the characteristics of this particular thing, okay, I highlighted them in yellow. So what was it I saw? That picture will come alive in the child's head, and that's how the child is able to attend to. That's how the child is able to attend to that thing, right? Attend to that assessment more easily. So you want to pay attention to these things, okay? You want to pay attention to these things. Help your child be able to put this thing down in a way that they're able to interpret them, okay? So however, they can interpret them using text and using highlighters and using colors, okay? Help your children use outline when they're studying, okay? For your visual learners, let them use outlines. Let them study. When they study, let them write as they study, okay, and then use outlines. So when they are struggling to remember that thing, the outline is the picture that they see. They're able to visualize it, okay? So my son does not like to write at all. My son doesn't like to write at all. He is a visual and auditory learner. So what he does is he just takes points. Okay, so when you're talking, he's either not doing anything, but at the point that he feels that, okay, the information is becoming a lot, all he would do is he would take his pencil. Most times it's a pencil. He just takes his pencil and then he puts down, the points like one, like that, as some sort of outline. Okay, in the past, he would not even do anything. Okay, when he was much younger, he would not do anything. I had to teach him as he grew older. I'm like, okay, the truth about it is, as they say, the shortest pencil, right, is better than the smartest brain, or however that saying is put. Basically, you can trust or you can count on whatever you have written, no matter how small, okay, than it is for you to depend on your brain completely. Okay, so basically, so I had to teach him, yes, I understand you do not want to write, but hey, just take like notes, just take like, make lists, make like pointers, just have your pointers like right there so that they can help you. So when he's preparing for a speech or he's preparing for a test or whatever it is that he's preparing, the math you will see him do, you will just see him, do some sort of an outline. So I think for a visual learner, when it's time to remember, that picture is able to come back in their head, and that's how they're able to interpret, okay, what it is that they've done. All right, so the next group is your kinesthetic learners. We have just 20 minutes here today about that. Okay, so the next group are your kinesthetic learners. Your kinesthetic learners are learners who want to, they're naturally doers. They just want to do. Okay, they just want to do. So if you sit your kinesthetic learner and then you want him to just look at a picture, that will work for him. Or you want him to just watch a video, that might not work for him. So yes, you will get him to sit and watch the video for a few minutes. But what he really wants to do is stand up and move around, touch things and all of that. So if you have observed that this is your child, okay, if you have observed that this is how your child is, they want to piece things together, they want to take things apart, and all of that. So what you want to do is you want to help that child maximize that. So these are the children you want to read aloud to. So you want to do a lot of read aloud. So when you read aloud to your children, don't insist, okay? Especially for this kind of learners, don't insist that they sit in one place. So it's okay, just create the boundaries for some sort of control, like, okay, you can't go out, okay, you're here in the room. So you can be in the room, and within that space, allow the child to move around while you do the reading. So read aloud is very powerful for kinesthetic learners. So you can read aloud while the child moves around. It's okay. The child is still listening to you. All right. Sometimes you want to give them stuff, the soft ball. Okay, give that to your kinesthetic learner. Even while you are teaching, let them just play. They're very tactile, so they want something in their hands that they can fiddle with. So you can give them the soft balls while you teach, and then create your boundaries. No throwing, right? No throwing, no bouncing, and all of that. But you can allow them have the ball, and then you find that they are just fidgeting with that ball. Don't worry, you still have their attention. Okay, they are just tactile and they want to do. Okay, another thing you want to do, you want to take breaks for your kinesthetic or tactile learner. You want to take short breaks after each lesson or whatever it is that you are teaching them at home. Okay, so my daughter, I homeschool my daughter right now, and she is very kinesthetic. She's tactile. She wants to touch. She wants to do. So because of that, you see, we go for a lot of nature walks. Okay, we do a lot of nature walks. Sometimes I'm teaching math. Okay, we're learning math. Okay, we're learning numeracy, we're learning math, and we have to go out. She's a natural. I mean, she's happy in the place of natural things. Okay, so she's a naturalist, if you want to call her that. Okay, and she's very tactile. All right, so sometimes we're learning math and we're doing the timetable, and we're like, okay, let's go for a nature walk and do our timetable today. So we go to a garden, and we are talking timetable, and we're developing the timetable, and we are in the garden appreciating the flowers, and she sees a flower or she sees a plant, and she's like, oh, I love this one and all that, and then we come back to what we're doing. Okay, so basically what's important is learning is happening, and that's the kind of learning that sticks. That's the kind of learning that is internalized. Okay, at the end of the day, okay, there's something you would do, you must do for all of your learners. Let your learners teach you after you have taught them. When you're done with that lesson, randomly later in the day, even your children after school, later in the day, when you're done with whatever you're teaching them, oh, sweetie, can you just explain to me what it is that we did, when I taught you? Can you explain the steps to me? You will find that this kind of children will tell you the steps, and you'll be amazed they were actually listening to you. The auditory learner is the one who wants to, that's the one that you can sit down and have these long lectures with, and he's listening to you. So your auditory learner might be looking all around while you are talking. Trust me, they are listening to you. So your auditory learner sometimes might want to even stand and move around too. Okay, but hey, they are listening to you. So they may not give you full, eye contact. Okay, they may not give you full eye contact basically, but they are listening to you. So for your auditory learners, you want to allow them, when you're talking, you want to allow them, you want to, when you have you want to take less notes, okay, less notes and more of using things like tapes. Okay, you want to use like tapes and recordings to teach your auditory learner. So your auditory learner is the one that you want to record a message for, or record a session and then send to them, let them listen to. So this kind of people, they like quiet places, okay, where they can focus and they can listen. Okay, this kind of people, they are usually lovers of music. Okay, so they can a lot of times they can actually learn even with soft music in the background. So you need to understand who your child is and then help the child maximize their learning style. Okay, then the last group of people are the read and write ones. These are the ones that as you are talking, they must take notes. If they don't take notes, it's not going to work. A lot of us are like this. Okay, in our generation, most of us were forced to be this kind of learners because there was no other way, right? The teacher or the lecturer stays there, he lectures, and then you take the notes, and that's it. Right, so most of us were this kind of learners. So these are learners that you must ensure, right? You must ensure when you are teaching, you allow them to take notes. Okay, so they oh my goodness, I had like a major. Am I still live? Sorry if you can still see me or hear me. Let me know you can still see me or hear me. I had like a major setback there. I can't see any comments. I know I can see there are some comments, but I can't see them on my screen. Um, Sorry, I can see. Okay, if you can see me, all right, I'll just round this up. Okay, round this up. Okay, so that's it. So if you're not paying attention, you will not know if your child is any of this kind of learner. But if you're paying attention, then you will find out what kind of learner your child is, and then you will recognize that there are ways that you can help this child, and you pay attention, when you pay attention to how they learn, then you will find out that there are ways that you can help them, and then you can apply those ways in helping your children. All right, so these are some of the reasons why you must allow your children teach you. These are some of the reasons why you must pay attention to how your children, how your children want to be trained or how they want to be nurtured. Okay, if you don't pay attention, then you will be fitting the child into the wrong fit, or you will be forcing the child to be a person that the child is not. All right, so that brings us to the end of this topic. We've been going on with it for a whole week, so that brings us to the end of it. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so the last time, yesterday, we started a challenge. We didn't start the challenge. We talked about a challenge that was starting. It's the end of a school year, and in September our children are back to school, right? So many times we just send our children to school without preparing our children to go and succeed in school. I want to tell you today, parents, that there is a way. There is a way to support your child. There is absolutely a way to support your child, and there is a way to help your child be successful. I said earlier on that every child is smart. Every child has got a genius in them. It is a lot of the times it's the caregivers that are the problem. We are the ones that are the problem. Okay, yes, our children are different by their temperaments, right? Their temperaments are different, right? So yes, their personalities are going to be different, right? But that doesn't necessarily say that one person is intelligent or one person is unintelligent. All right, so some children come and you need to give them instructions. You give them instruction one time and the child is able to run with it based on the child's temperament. So it's easy for the child to calm down, listen to you, and then one time the child gets that instruction, the child begins to act on that instruction, build on that instruction, right, or experience. So because that child is able to get that experience or understand that experience or that instruction, instantly and begin to build on it, we find that that child comes across or appears like they are smarter. Now, the other child that needs 5, 8, 10 times, right, to get this instruction doesn't quite get it and run with it immediately. And because we don't understand them, even as teachers, even teachers do not understand their children or do not allow themselves the patience, right, to understand and run with these children like this, even with all of the training that some teachers get. So because you're not patient enough, right, to treat this child based on how the child learns or based on the child's temperament, because you're not calm or patient enough to work with the child based on that, the child doesn't quite get that instruction 1 or 2 times, and then you move on with the one that has gotten the instruction. So there is a gap. So before you know it, you are putting another layer of learning on that first layer of learning. The one that gets it instantly takes it and is running with the second layer. The second one, you are mounting a second layer on the first layer, that the first layer, when the child hasn't even gotten the first layer right, because you have not stayed on to pass it on the number of times that it takes, or you have not made the effort to ensure that that child gets it. And before you know it, it's week 3 and you mount a third layer. This child B is still struggling with layer 1. You mount the third layer. By the time you get to the fourth layer, the child is lost, completely lost. And that is what happens to our children a lot of the times. In fact, there is no dull child. That is how we create dull children. Okay, that is how, as parents, as teachers, as caregivers, that is how we create dull children. So yes, if you have a child that is not doing well, provided that child does not have any special need, okay, that is not a, sorry, there's something that is making noise. I need to, Hamsi, there's a door that is banging on its own and it's distracting. All right. So provided that child is not a special need child, the child doesn't have a special need, right? if that's not the case, that your child isn't doing well, that your child is not excelling, it is you that has created a child that is not excelling. You, in collaboration with the people that you allow into your children's life, the people that you have brought to come and instruct your children. So that's what happens, okay? That is exactly what happens, and that's how dull children are created. So there's nothing like a dull child. Every child has got a genius. Every child has got a different way that they learn. Every child has got their temperament, and that affects the way they learn. And if we don't understand this, we continue to stereotype them, and we continue to label them, and we end up forcing them to get frustrated about learning, and that's how the child just becomes disinterested, and then you begin to cry at some point and say your child is this. So yes, this challenge is very cheap. We can do it for free. Well, no, we're not doing it for free, because when we do things for free, we don't take them seriously. This is serious matter. We don't want parents sending children off to school, whether the children are supposed to be in certain places or they're not supposed to be in certain places. We don't want parents dragging children that they have not prepared to succeed. Then you go and put them in a place and set them up for failure. No, it's just 1,000 naira. Come and enroll. Let us go on a journey together for 10 days. 10 days we'll be bringing tools. There'll be communication line open. You can talk to me. You can ask me questions. I have done this 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and my results are the same. They say when you do something once, right, and you cannot recreate that thing, that first time is a fluke. But when you're able to recreate it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, then you have a system that is working. So I'm standing here and I'm saying to you, there is a system that works. There is what works. So parents, yes, there is what works, and that's what I'm going to be taking you through in these 10 days, so that you can equip and empower your children to go on to school, or go on to, whether it's a day school or boarding school, whether your child is a preteen, whether your child is a teenager, whether your child is going to year 7, whether your child is returning to year 9, whatever it is, there is a way, but you have to equip your children first for them to align. Okay, so thank you very much. And if you have not got a copy of Mentor Parent, how to parent your child to find, how to support your child to find purpose, then you need to do that right now. The book is there. We're going to be launching in a few days. We're going to be launching officially in a few days. So if you don't have your copy yet, you're missing. You're going to miss. You will buy this book eventually. When you begin to hear the testimonials, you will buy this book eventually. So you might as well buy the book now and qualify to be in our financial awareness class, where you will learn 21st century financial knowledge that you can step down to your children for the next generation. So buy this book from now to the 16th, and you can still be a part of that class. After the 16th, you just have your book for 6,000 naira. 2 books, actually, 2 amazing books. So thank you very much for everyone who joined. If you catch the replay, just write in the comments #replay. Go ahead and register. And register for the 1,000 naira challenge. Tell your friend, tell your village, tell your family, tell everyone that has children, even young people who are aspiring to be parents. No knowledge is lost. This is the time to gather all the knowledge that you can gather and put in your toolbox, waiting for those children to learn. So yes, even if your child is a toddler, this is the time to get that knowledge, so you can write it down somewhere in your planner, waiting for the child, when the child gets to that phase, so that you can execute. There is no knowledge lost in parenting, and this challenge will blow your mind. So thank you very much. Have a lovely, lovely evening. This is me, Mary Beth, and I'm signing out. Have a lovely evening. Bye.